Collaboration is key. Building a network of communicators is key. And it is very important for EFSA in terms of risk communication in general, because risk communication is part of the mandate of EFSA. It's an our funding regulation together with risk assessments. Before going into the challenges, I wanted to talk about the type of networks that we've established over the years. And the first one at EU level is the CEN, the Communication Expert Network. It's a network of communicators in the field of food safety that have as a mandate to share best practices, to work closely to promote consistency and coherence in messages. And it's particularly important that we have this established scientific network within EFSA, especially in food and feed-related crises that we manage. To help the CEN, in the last couple of years, we have also established a network of member states communication coordinators, MSCCs, that work under a grant scheme, moving from a voluntary to a more transactional way of managing the support in terms of communication. And the MCCs help the CEN that define the strategy in a set of specific agreed communication activities that focus more on the coordination of the communication. This is very important for EFSA because the transparency regulation that we had in 2019 has changed a bit the mandate and stressed that communication needs to be coordinated as much as possible. So talking about another network, I wanted to focus more on the global aspects, because another network that we call the International Risk Communication Liaison Group, IRCLG, to which EU-JAMRAI was invited recently to talk about AMR, is a more of a loose community, but it's very important to have a regular meeting to exchange information about what is going on in terms of in the worlds of communication, and also focus on more of the global issues, and AMR is one of them. In terms of the challenges or the lessons learned that we've had by working with these networks, what I wanted to mention first is about communicating across culture. So it's about tailoring the messages, it's about translation that is culturally relevant, it's about applying the social research insight. So that I would define as a first challenge. As a second challenge, I would mention really the coordination and the consistency of the communication that I mentioned before. This is crucial. This has been confirmed by the transparency regulation for us. And the third one, I would mention then capacity building and resources. Resources is a big issue. That's why we try to use different schemes like the grant scheme to fund communication activities. And capacity building, I think it's the other one that deserves specific attention. And for example, for this group of member states communication coordinators, we've launched a learning and development plan for this year. To provide you with some specific example, I mentioned the strategy of tailoring the messages to the local context using the insights of social research. The example that we have in terms of campaigns has been great. We run two pan-European campaigns. One is called Safe to Eat. It's about promoting the awareness about the consumer choices in relation to food. And another one is called Plant Health for Life. And it's a campaign that focuses on awareness of the importance of plant health for the environmental aspects, food security aspects, but also economic aspects. So these two campaigns have given us a lot of examples I could provide. And some of them are really related to the choice of media that we apply to some of the strategy. Mass media versus interpersonal channels. That's a very interesting, when we look at the results or the example that we have from countries. For example, these interpersonal channels like community events have been working more in countries like Cyprus, where we've inserted our campaign activities within a community event, a music festival, or in Czechia where we had a Meet Your Farmer event. So these are examples of how the engagement can be, used at community level. But in some other situation, like for example in Croatia or again Cyprus, we've really tried to reach broader audiences using TV. Digital platforms are of course very important when we communicate to our younger audiences, and also depends a lot about the internet access. And I wanted to mention also examples related really to the usefulness of community leaders. For example, in the framework of the Safe to Eat campaign, we've been involving influencers such as a monk in Hungary to explain a bit food-related practices and good practices, because this was from the evidence shown that it was a useful tactic to take. And this is about interagency collaboration, and that's the work that we do on the European Antibiotic Awareness Day every November together with ECDC. So that shows really our willingness from the EFSA side to work closely with all the other EU agencies, with the European Commission, but also with partners like EU-JAMRAI on a specific date. But I also wanted to mention that in the framework of these network activities, a lot of the funded activities in the field of food safety also affect the AMR campaign. So what we're funding in the end, and this was example for Belgium or Cyprus, we were really helping AMR campaign at the national level. So interagency collaboration, global collaboration, and ultimately local collaboration, I would say.